Hi, hi everyone. Good morning. Hope I am audible. Uh, Please let me know if I am audible. Thanks, Anil, for responding. Thanks, Akansha, for responding. Thanks, Ravikir, for responding. Okay. Yesterday, we have seen how to fetch data using async task. Hope you practice this, right? So, so we'll understand how to parse the JSON data, which is huge as of now. Let me open Wiser to show you the. Okay, the app is up and running. Now, if you input the book name, if you input a book name, let us suppose I input the book name as Java. Now, if you hit on get data, you get a huge data, right? So this data is not readable at all. Correct. So today in this session, we will see how to get this data readable or how to parse the response, the JSON response, and display it to the user. So that is what we are going to see today. Relatively quite easy, but you may find it difficult in the initial process, in the initial stages. However, as the data arrives in the fetch data map, in the fetch data class, the data arrives to on post execute method because UI can be accessed from on post execute method. Okay. Only from on post execute method you can access the UI. As of now, I am displaying the entire data in a text view. Okay. Okay. So let us see how to parse this data. In order to show you that, I'd like to hit this URL on the browser once. Google Books. No. Google APIs.com/book/v1/volumes question mark is equal to Android. Okay, I'm running this one. I copy this entire JSON response. If I jump into JSON formatter, if I search for JSON formatter, I get many JSON formatters here, but I'm more curious to go to jsonformatter.curiousconcept.com because I'm habituated with this. Right, I'm habituated with this. Hmm. Python process, get a large list. So first, we have a JSON object, isn't it? So this is a JSON object, right? This is a JSON object. So first of all, the string data that you get into onPost execute method should be converted to JSON object format. So if I control minus, for that, what all you need to do in the onPost execute method is create a JSON object. Let us give it some name. Object can be given any name because I would like to call it root. That is equal to new JSON object. Okay. And what data would I like to convert it to JSON object? The data that is available in string yes. That I want to convert to JSON object. Okay. Now, if you see, there is a chance of getting an exception here, right? Unhandled exception. So in those cases, what do? We do Alt Enter and surround it with try catch. Now, not only JSON exceptions, I want to handle all exceptions with a single catch clause. I don't want to increase the number of lines of my code. Now, your entire string response is converted as a JSON object as it is shown in this picture. Now, inside this JSON object, you have got a JSON array, which is of more interest for us, isn't it? Because we have the actual items inside this items array, right? So inside this items array, so how do I know that this is an array? Because it has square brackets here. That is the reason I know that this is an array. So I want to get this array by the help of this name. So you should copy this name. Now go back to your code. Okay, let's go back to our code. What do we want to do? We want to do fetch the JSON array. I will call it items. That is equal to. Now tell me, where are these items located? Where are these items located? Inside the root object, isn't it? Inside the object only, you have items array. Do you agree with me? Thank you, Akansha, for agreeing. Who else? Okay, who don't agree with me? Who doesn't agree with me? Sweta, thank you. Okay, so these items, if you see the response once again, I'm going slow because it is quite difficult if you do not understand it in the first go. So this items array is present inside this object, and this object in our program, it is called as root. So inside this object, you have got items, which is an array. So I copied this identifier items or this key items. Now I should extract the JSON array out of this root object. So root.getJSON array. Very simple. And in the double quotations, you can write items, because if you do not give items, which array it should fetch? How does it know? It will never know which array to fetch if you do not specify the key given for the array. Right. Any doubts so far? Any questions so far? Guys, any questions so far? Thank you. Thanks for the response. Akansha, Kiran, Kiran. Okay. As the items are fetched as an array, you got the items fetched as an array. Now I have to go through all these individual objects one after the other. And sometimes you will be having more number of objects. Sometimes you will be having less number of objects in this items array. Correct? We don't know the length of the items. Without knowing the length of the items, how can we go through all these objects one after the other? So when there is an array, you can definitely get its length dynamically also by the help of length attribute. How? Let us see. Simply, you can write a for each as well. That is also fine. Let us write a for loop only because you'll understand it more clearly. Int I equals to 0, I less than items dot length I plus plus. Okay. So every time you loop through, if you loop through for the first time, you get the first object, right? So how do we fetch this object? Very simple. Very simple. You create a JSON object. I'd like to call it item or IT, and that is equal to items dot get JSON object of the index I. So when the loop is iterating for the first time, you get the first object. When the loop is iterating for the second time, you get the second object, and so on. Once you get the object, what is the very next step? Inside this object, what are we interested in? We are interested in this volume info object, not anything else. I'm just interested in volume info object because I just want to get the title and others if possible. Okay. So we need to first get this object, and this object is having a key called volume info. So whenever we have a key, we copy it. Come to the JSON parsing code. You create a JSON object again. Let's call it as volume, and that is equal to it dot get JSON object, and you would be giving in the double quotations, you'll write volume info. Sorry, double quotations are also copied, so you'll directly paste it, volume info. Now your volume info object is also present in volume, right? The object name is volume. Now in volume, what am I looking for? I'm looking for title. I'm looking for title. And then I want to get authors as well. Okay. So I want a string title. And where do I get this title from? From volume object only, I'll get the title. So volume dot get string. And what should I give? The key is title. So copy the title, come back in the double quotations, paste it. It's simple, you get the title. Okay. So what do we do is we'll set the text views value. So append of title and two backslash ends between the title to title. Okay, authors we will see it again. Let us see if we are getting the data appropriately. I will say Android. Now we don't get data. See, Android app development for dummies, professional Android, teach yourself visually Android phones and tablets, Android phones for dummies, Android security internals, beginning Android application development, Android on x86, and so on. right? So you're getting the books names. If in the place of Android, if I write Java, see I get the Java books down of this Android books, because here you are not setting the text views value to empty first. You should set the value to empty. Only then you'll get appropriate output, perfect output. We will say Python. Okay, Python is also an easy programming language. Anybody can learn it. Get it done. Automate the boring stuff with Python. Python for kids, programming in Python 3, Python for everybody, Python programming, Python for tennis, Black Hat Python, so many, right? So many things are there. So I want to now get authors as well. I want to just get authors as well. For that, what I'll do is I'll give a space and write a by and give a space again. Now I want to get JSON object, right? Sorry, JSON array, correct? Because authors is an array. Authors, that is equal to, where do I get these authors from? From wall-inf object only. Because if you see the response, authors are present inside wall-info. Wall-inf dot get JSON array authors. Now, as usually, you can write a for loop or for each loop. You can write a for each now. For each string A from authors. Authors dot get string. Okay, we need to pass index, right? So for each loop will not be suitable in this case. So for int j equals to 0, j less than authors dot length j plus plus. Now as you get authors, so string auth is equal to string auth is equal to authors dot get string of j. Okay. Now what do? We have this text view. We'll append it. Text view dot append of auth, and then it is paste. That's it. Now finally text view dot append of, we can give backslash and 2 backslashes. So we'll get authors and book titles now. Relatively very easy, isn't it? And right. Okay. We'll see. Okay, Java. I'm only typing Java, Android, and Python. I'm not typing anything else. Effective Java by Joshua Blush. Think Java by Alan B. Downey, Chris Mayfield. Thinking in Java by Bruce EQ. See, everyone, all the other names are also coming in. You can even format it in a more and easier way. You can also create create a recycler view, populate data on top of it along with the images. Also, you can do. Okay, there is an endless possibility for this application, right? If you want me to integrate recycler view, I'm ready to do that. But not for this application. We'll go with another application with another library, with another easier library. Right. So any doubts in the parsing of JSON response? If you want me to re-explain, I can re-explain this to you. Do you want me to repeat? Please let me know if you want me to repeat. Thank you, Akansha. Thank you, Ravi Kiran. Okay, Bunty is asking me to repeat. Okay, only one person. Anybody else, guys? I will tell you that the Fraja, in the next application, we will do that. Okay, we will make a like a full-time news app right away. From today only, we will start it. So don't you worry. And there are many other things that you can do with an application. Try to explore more and do more. This application, news application, anyway, I will make sure that I deliver properly. Okay, let me explain this JSON formatting, JSON, how to format JSON. Let me explain that. So the equations are quite easy. If you practice it, most of the doubts will get cleared. Okay, right. Okay, if you are able to see this, right. Basics you need to remember, Bunty. First thing is, if you have a pair of code blocks, these are code blocks. Illiterate people, they also call it as flower brackets. I heard it most of the time. So these are not flower brackets, these are code blocks. Okay. So in between these code blocks, if you have some data, it is considered as JSON object. What is it? JSON object. So if you have these symbols, what is it called? JSON array. Okay. Next, if there is a key and some data in double quotations, this is the value, this is the key. So this is key, this is value. So if you want to get the value, you have to use the key. Okay, right. So these are a little bit of basics for you to understand. Okay. So now what is the code that we wrote? Okay, this is the code that we wrote. What is happening to the JSON response? So this is all taken as a string. This is all taken as a string, and that we are converting it to a JSON object. So all this is converted into a JSON object. Next, after getting the JSON object, we have to fetch these items, because in the items only We have got multiple objects, and in those multiple objects, we have the information of our interest. Correct? So what we did, we fetched the JSON array from the root object, which is this one, with the help of items name. Okay. So we fetch these items, all these items in the array with the help of the JSON array. Next, we looped through these items. We have to loop through these items so that we can go with all the items one after the other. That is why we have given a for loop. Then you get the first item. With the help of the index, you get the item. And then you are extracting volume info object only. You are interested to see volume info object only. Because in the volume info object, we have title and authors both. So what we did, we got the volume info object as volume with the help of volume info. And then we fetch the title with the help of title get string and appended it to the text field. Finally, authors also, we got it in the same way, appended it to the text field. Very simple coding. Now let me know if you understood this or not, Banti Rathod. Okay, cool. So if you do not practice, it will be hard for you to cope up with the upcoming sessions, right? So there are easier ways of doing this. There are very, very easier ways of doing this. There is a library called JSON. The library name is JSON. You can use JSON library to parse the data easily. This whole data, whatever is there, this whole data, whatever is there, it can be parsed easily with the help of JSON library. So JSON library is something that serializes and deserializes Java objects to JSON and JSON to Java objects. Okay. So in general, if you want to make your task easy, we'll create a class and keep all the essential data into that class. And then we will actually populate the data on the UI. That is what we do in regular cases. But if you want to reduce your effort into writing this code, you can use JSON library. I will show you how to use JSON library. If you search for JSON library Android, you get a GitHub link. See, if you do not follow, if you miss out on single step also, you cannot understand, guys. Please be really very concentrative. Okay. We will finish this off today itself if you concentrate. Otherwise, it will extend to tomorrow. It will be hard for us to repeat all these concepts once again. Okay. So let me finish this. So as you get the GitHub link of JSON, so I'm pasting this in the notes, the classroom notes. This is also available on actual notes that I gave you in the Bitbucket. Create material. JSON. We can use JSON in the place of normal parsing of JSON response. You can get the link from here. Enjoy. Okay, I'm also pasting this link to everyone. Okay. So the first thing that you need to do is you copy this dependency, come back to your project, go to the second build.gradle file. This is for your modular project. Now paste that and hit on this sync now button. Or you can also click on this elephant icon that synchronizes the whole project, meaning it will download the libraries and integrate with the project. But this is not the end of the picture. This is the place where we begin our show. So if you scroll down till the end of the screen, there are 3 tutorials available. These are official tutorials of JSON library. So you can go to JSON tutorial series. Now you may ask me, sir, you used to open Android developer documentation for everything so far. Why did you open a GitHub link now? See, most of the libraries that we use in third-party code, they are from GitHub only. So GitHub hosts a lot of libraries. So this is also this official documentation kind of stuff. See, for serialization and deserialization, how to use it is all given to us. Now, this JSON library, as we know, that it creates Java objects with the help of JSON. So with the help of JSON response, it creates Java objects, and using those Java objects, we can actually get data and put data. Okay. So in order to create Java classes into which we want to convert our data, I'd like to ask you to go to JSON schema to pojo.org. You can go to this website. Go to this website to download the equivalent Pojo classes. Pojo classes means what? Plain old Java objects relevant to the JSON response you have. Relevant to the JSON response you have. I'm adding this link as well. Okay. So how do we download it? Very simple. You have this huge response, right? You copy this response, come back to JSON schema to pojo.org. Now remove this response which is already existing. Paste your response. Completely paste your response. Now, there are many options available here. You should tweak them. First, change the class name to, I will say source. That's it. Source is my class name. Because this is the place where I want to begin. Now, the source type is JSON, correct? What is the annotation style? None. You don't need any annotation style at all. Even JSON also not required. What are the validation annotations? Nothing. So we don't want builder methods, but primitive types must be used, long integers must be used. Getters and setters must be included. We have to have constructor also, but additional properties are not required. Once all this is done, you can take a picture if you want to. Or I'll do one thing, I'll take a picture. Okay. So after setting up all these options, JSON, none, None. Primitive types, long integers, double numbers, include getters and setters, include constructors, everything. You hit on 0. Then you will get the Pojo classes downloaded. You can open these Pojo classes. You can show in folder. Show in Finder. You can extract these Pojo classes. Open with. Okay, I can double click on it. Double click on com. Example. Now all these are the classes generated for your response. Okay. You may wonder what are these classes. You can just copy them. Come to Android Studio. You can create another folder, Android resource directory, or simply package. We will call it data. And inside this data, you can have these files. See, it is not mandatory that you put all these files into data. Okay, you can simply paste all these files. Okay, it is not pastable. Okay, extract all. Extract. Okay, now you can actually copy these files. All these files you can copy. Okay, now you can paste them into data. Hit OK. Very simple. Now you got these annotations, right? For every file, you get these two annotations. Unfortunately, you just have to remove them. Remove this generated annotation and do Control Alt and O to remove the unused import statements. See, don't get confused, guys. I know some of you are getting confused by looking at it, but don't get confused. It's quite easy thing to do. Very easy thing. I'll show you how this works. Okay. Guys, I'm going to take a little break to have some water. Please give me 1 minute break. Sorry, 2 minutes break. I'll be back by 7. Okay, the break went a little longer, sorry. All right. So, so the next class is list price one. You can remove this generated annotation. Also, if you do Control Alt and O, the unused import statement will vanish. Similar is the case with here. Same is the case with this penalization summary. PDF also it is the same. Reading modes as usual. Retail price. This is the only work that you need to do for using JSON library. And all other stuff will be taken care of by the JSON library only. Okay, let us quickly see it. Oh, SailInfo has a okay. So list has to be imported. It has to be there. For search info, okay, generated annotation is not necessary. Source, this one is not necessary. Volume info, only generated annotation is not necessary. Nice. So if you go to the source, you would see that there is kind, total items, and items. Items is again a list of items. What is this? Have you seen it anywhere? Yes, we did. If you jump into the JSON formatter and validator, now tell me if both of these are same or not. Here also I have kind, which is a string, total items, which is a long integer, items, which is a array list. So do we have the same here? Yes or no? Guys, thank you, Banti. Thank you, Sweta. Thank you, Akansha. So if you jump into item, okay, here in the response, we'll jump into this item array and we'll see what each item is comprised of. Kind, which is a string, ID, which is a string, etag, which is a string, self-link, which is a string, volume info, which is another JSON object. So do we have the same here? Kind, yes, ID, etag, self-link, volume info, which is an object. Now in the same level, you also have sale info, access info, and search info. You would be having the sale info, access info, search info. Now, what is present in volume info? If you jump into volume info, okay. If you jump into volume info, you have got title, authors, publisher, publish date, description, industry identifiers, reading modes, page count, print type, categories, maturity rating, allow on logging, so many things. So this JSON is properly represented as all these classes. It is not necessary that you must use all these classes. You can use whatever the classes are is of your primary interest when you use an API. All right. Cool. So let us close these down. We only want sale. We only want source. And from source, you can access all other subclasses. Sorry, all other classes that are interrelated to each other. Now on main activity, sorry, on fetch data, what I would do is I would make this try catch exception disappear by commenting it. Because later on, if you want to explore and you don't have code, that is a big problem, right? Now, what am I going to do? Simple. I'm going to create a JSON object. JSON is equal to new JSON. And I want to convert everything to source. Source S is equal to JSON dot from JSON. What is the response? Yes is the response. And to which class type I want to change it? Source dot class. Okay. Source. Here also I'll write it as source. Nice. So this entire JSON response, I'm giving it to JSON library. And I want the JSON library to convert the response into source.class. Now you can simply, very easily display data. How? I'll tell you. So first we need the data. So for item I, from item I, that is from source dot get items. For each item, what am I going to do? I'm going to extract the volume info object out of the item. And from the volume info object, what exactly am I trying to get? Titles, right? So title, string title is equal to items dot get volume info. And from that, you get the title. Simple. Not displayed on the text view. Text view dot append of title. So after title, what am I supposed to give? By space. Nice. Now I want to get authors array. So if you jump into volume info, authors is a list of strings. So you can get it easily, right? So create a list of string. Let us call it authors A. Authors AU is equal to, where do we get these authors from? From the volume info object only. So I dot items dot get volume info dot get authors. Now you can write another for each loop. So for string author, that is from authors list, you can right away jump into text view dot append dot write the author's name or and then give us two spaces. Once it is done, finally text view can have another appending character, that is backslash n. Backslash n. If you run the application, the output would be the same. There won't be any difference at all. So now tell me, parsing the JSON response by code is easy, or automating it using JSON library is easy? To some extent, not fully automation, I would say. This is a bit of automation, I would say. A small example of partial automation. So which one feels easy for you? The first one or the second approach? Obviously, I like the second approach, and it is not that you should also like the second approach. So which one do you like, guys? First one, if you like the first one, give me 1. If you like JSON, give me 2. Great. Ravikram like JSON. Cool. Sweta also like JSON. Fantastic. Let's get the output. Otherwise, I will be embarrassed. Altaf Raja also liked 67 line. So this is mentioned in the tutorial, Altaf. We're just converting the source, or we are converting the string yes to the source.class. As simple as that. Okay, my Wi-Fi is not working, unfortunately. Sorry, that is the reason you're not able to see the output. Not a problem. Signal strength is fair. Okay, I'll give my Wi-Fi connection. Okay, so try this example. You will be definitely getting the output for sure. Okay, right. So now we'll get the output. Get data. Oh shit. No problem. We'll open it again. We'll see where the problem is. We'll see that. So Android. We'll give Android, get data. See, you got the data. Easily you got the data. So if you give Java, get data, you get the data for Java. Very easy thing. So JSON is quite easy to learn. So make sure that you're learning it. Okay. So I'll be pushing this code to GitHub. Sorry, Bitbucket. Please find the code on Bitbucket and try to practice it without missing. Right. So with this, we are done with JSON library as well. From next time, if I use JSON library, I'll be using it a bit faster than normal. So please do practice it. Right. So the data is right to the Bitbucket repository. I'll also place this link once again in the notes as well. Actually, I don't like using Classroom because there isn't much features offered here, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm just writing these notes for your use. All right. So thank you so much, guys, for your patience, understanding, and cooperation. We'll meet you tomorrow at sharp 7 o'clock. Today I was a bit late because unfortunately my headache was not is not subsided. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for understanding. Take care. Good day. Bye bye.